Good morning, traders, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to look at Sarepta Therapeutics. The ticker symbol is SRPT. And I'm going to start out by showing you the zoomed out view on the weekly time frame, just to give you context to how explosive price action can be and where it ultimately can go for this biotech company. So you can see we established highs in the 180 range, and now we've had this massive sell-off all the way down to as low as the $10 range. But I have this green box outlined here because this essentially is a demand zone, right? So you can see we touched these lows and we had massive demand all the way kind of through here. So where do we find ourselves today, and how do I see and where do I see price going from here? Well, we've been in this massive downtrend all the way from $180 down, like I said, to a low of about $10.90. And you can see we had some really strong increasing sell volume, right? All the way down, we formed this bullish wedge, which as I get into the daily, I'm going to show you that. But you can see, before we transition there, I want to show you, even though we had this massive sell volume, we had a nice weekly buy candle the week before last. And then we had confirmation, or I should say follow through. We don't have confirmation on the weekly just yet, but we have follow through last week. So now let's go into the daily time frame, and I want to show you some things here. So massive gaps everywhere, all the way up to about $65. So when this does reestablish itself, which I think it's in the process of doing right now, it's going to move and has potential to move quite high. So the way I'll be playing this is with options, dated option, leaped options, maybe some short term, but most likely some leap options, because what I see in the charts I like. So you can see we got into this lower region, and you can see, or this demand zone, and what did we do, right? We had this sell down into it, and then we had this hammer handle, not quite a bottoming tail, but we had this nice buy volume. Then we had another day of buy volume and another day of buy volume, and then we had a gap up, and it sold down obviously off those highs because it just wasn't ready, but it still maintained a higher gap, right? Much higher than it had opened, or that it had previously closed, I should say. So you can see this is essentially a very nice bull flag, right? So you have this, and then you have this consolidation. So let me outline that. You have essentially these highs here and these lows here, okay? So we're inside this nice bull flag with tight consolidation, and we're at the upper bound of that parallel with price action establishing up in this area. So could it still come down and retest this lower bound? Of course it could, but I think that would be healthy. And could it pop right out of here? It absolutely could. So anywhere in this area, in my opinion, in this consolidation is a great area to enter. Ideally, I'd love for it to come back down, retest this bottom zone at around $16, but we might not get that. We might just pop right through, because the other thing we're doing here is, one, we've broken out of this descending wedge. So if we look at this descending wedge and we look at its potential upside just from the wedge, let me do that for you real quick. Off that breakout, we're looking at a price target of about $42, which puts us right in this supply zone here. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is one massive supply zone. Previous demand, and we're going to make that red, because when we get there, it is most certainly going to be a supply zone. So let's change this to red real quick. Okay, so price target, as you can see, is right through that median line. I certainly won't be waiting for it to get there. I mean, if we fill this gap, I'll likely be out. But that will be a nice move. That's going to be essentially a 100% move. That's going to be a double, easily. I might even get out towards the bottom end of here. I mean, that's still an unbelievable move, especially if you're playing options. So we have that. Let me take this off real quick. And what else do we have here? Well, we have somewhat of a inverse head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder being formed. So that's another bullish sign, and you can see that kind of, if you look at it like that, you know, however you want to draw this, probably do something like that. We overthrew it there, came back in. So this is a nice inverse head and shoulders look. Let's also now look at RSI. What has it been doing? Well, we had this bullish divergence here and still forming. So you have this, all this is bullish divergence, lower lows on the price, higher highs on the RSI, and you can see we have plenty of room to run. So how do I see this going? Well, again, one, it can just break out of here, and we might not look back. It might actually, it could because of these highs here. If you got something like that, it would be an absolute gift, right? If we jumped up here, hit our head on this area right there on those highs, hit our head, and then retested right there, that would be a perfect entry at $19. If you're super aggressive, and I might do this because I'm going to be playing options, I'm not going to wait for that breakout. I'm likely going to take it on Monday when the market opens here, just because I like this play so much, and with preparation of adding if it comes back down here, knowing that my dollar cost average, I could DCA into this position. Even if it came down and retested this breakout here on this this candle, I'd still be bullish on this name for everything I showed you on the weekly and how it's setting up here. So I like this one a lot to go much higher. And like I said, the way to definitely play this is likely going to be options. You'll be able to extract a whole lot of return on this, hundreds and hundreds of percent if played properly. So that's how I see SRPT. If you like the analysis today, do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed so you can receive these alerts in real time to ensure that you're making money and taking advantage of the volatility and these market opportunities as they present themselves. And I'll remind everyone, everything I do is for educational purposes only and show you what I'm doing with my own personal trading portfolio. Again, appreciate the time. Thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks.